things you see. I mean, Baltimore, when they lost 3 running backs, panicked a little, right? Like, there are things you see. So, Joey, we're going to do a panic meter.
All right, let's do it. Scale of 1 to 10. How panicked should the Cowboys be?
Just a 4. DeMarcus Lawrence is out for 2 months. This is not a good defense.
No.
But here's the good news. They don't play another playoff team until November 21. And they did force 4 turnovers against the Super Bowl champions. So I worry about the injury a little bit on a bad defense, but the schedule gets easy.
How panicked should the Falcons be, 1 to 10?
I'll say a 7. Here's why. They've always scored points at home in the Matt Ryan era. 6 points last week. Fewest they've scored at home in 7 years, and the second fewest in the Matt Ryan era. And we don't think Philadelphia is a great defense. So they couldn't move the ball, and that's the one thing even their bad teams have done. They were awful on third down, 3 and 14. So it's a concerning, and by the way, you face a better defense this week, meaning you're probably 0-2 with a new head coach.
Scale of 1 to 10, how panicked should the Jets be?
This is a 7-2. They couldn't run the ball, meaning you're going to be significantly more reliant on Zach Wilson, which is sort of a problem because Mekhi Becton, your left tackle, is now hurt. This is now going to be a highly leveraged quarterback team. He's got to be great. It was an average O-line entering the year. Maybe it's weaker, and they showed no ability. They ran for 45 yards, and that's not a great Carolina defense. It's a concern. They play the Patriots this week.
How about the Washington football team?
Well, I would say 6 because they're now in week 2 and a backup quarterback. So what are you going to say? Also, their defense, as great as it is, was bad on third down. I credit simply Justin Herbert for that. But, you know, this is the criticism we both had of Ron Rivera. It's like, bro, when you got a defense that good, don't waste it with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Be aggressive. How panicked should the Browns be?
1, they averaged 8 yards a play. They lost to the best team in the NFL. Their next 3 games, Texans, Bears, Vikings, have a chance to blow out all 3. 0 panic. Plus, they're going to get OBJ back in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
How panicked should the Jaguars be?
You'd be surprised, but I would say 2. Trevor Lawrence, as Greg Cosell told us, pretty good. 332 passing yards, 3rd most ever. First career game. They played a veteran Texans team. If he's good, I don't care if they win 3 games. If he's good and grows, they're fine.
How panicked should the Packers be?
I would say 3. They had a very noisy offseason. The schedule gets weaker. It's the same team that went 13-3. They rushed just 15 times last week because they fell into a huge hole. So it was not a typical game. When you fall behind fast, you abandon your running game, and your running game's pretty good. I would say a 3 simply because their O-line got pushed around. That concerns me. Like, pushed around badly for the entire first half.
1 to 10, how panicked should the Bills be?
I'll go 2 or 3. First of all, they were in the red zone 4 times. Last year, they scored touchdowns 60% of the time. Okay, this week, they couldn't score touchdowns. I think a lot of it was their weakness. Their O-line met the best front 7 in the league, and they just couldn't get touchdowns out of it. So I think that Pittsburgh, for that game, is a bad matchup. Pittsburgh totally healthy, but I think they have room to grow, and I think they'll bounce back against Miami.
How panicked should the Titans be?
6. So they have new coordinators. They will get better, but 7 of their next 9 games are against playoff teams. So, like, the schedule's tough. The division's weak. The schedule is tough. And also, Ryan Tannehill, we always thought was kind of a C quarterback until Arthur Smith arrived. Now, we don't know if Arthur Smith will work as a head coach, but he's a great coordinator. He's gone. So it was not a good first look for that offense that doesn't have a great O-line anyway with Arthur Smith leaving. Again, some guys are just great coordinators. We don't know if Arthur Smith can be a head coach. Didn't look like it week 1. But he was a great, great coordinator.
How about the Bears?
I would say 6, teetering on 7. Here's your biggest problem. They couldn't get the Rams off the field. And this is not an offense with a lot of juice. So I believe this Bears defense peaked about 2 years ago in the Mitch Trubisky years. But what I saw at the end of last year and what I see with the Bears defense this year, They struggle on third down. Great defenses, even really good defenses, get you off the field on third down, unless, like Washington, you're facing a wildly talented quarterback.
How panicked should the Niners be?
A 2, and here's why. Because they lost their running back, Raheem Mostert. But then they brought in Elijah Mitchell, and he ran for 100 yards. This is what the Niners do in Kyle Shanahan. This is why they don't need to ever draft a running back in the first 2 or 3 rounds. The Shanahan system makes the running back. So they put a rookie in. He was fantastic.
Finally, how panicked should the Patriots be?
Actually, very low. I was thinking of a 1, but they do have a rookie quarterback. I would say 2 to 3. They averaged over 9 plays per drive and 4.5 minutes per drive. You want to know what's amazing? Those were both the highest in the league. Now think about that. 9 plays per drive with a rookie quarterback against Brian Flores' defense. So what that leads me to believe is New England has a chance to blow out the Jets this week. Because that was as good a loss about as you can have in the NFL. Rookie quarterback, 9 play drives against the Jets. My problem with all the bets this week I like, they're almost all favorites, and I generally love underdogs. But to think about it, the Jets now can't run the football at all, meaning they're going to become incredibly reliant on Zach Wilson against a coach who crushes young quarterbacks. And oh, by the way, against a way better defense than the Jets, New England averaged 9 plays a drive. Had they not had a red zone fumble, they would have won the football game. See, again, I'm talking myself into taking favorites, which I don't, because I always view fans take favorites and fans don't win betting. Sharps take dogs. So I'm always trying to be a sharp. Mm-hmm. I would like to at some point get the sharp lapel button or something because sharps tend to take dogs, but all the games I like this week are all favorites.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of bounce back games. There's a couple weird losses in the first week that I think it will be a little more balanced in week 2.
All right. Tired of waiting around for hot water?